Hey, do you want to sketch this one with me? What up friends, Liron here. As I showed you, today we are sketching this. This is the place, this is the image, and I just want us to do something fun and work side by side with it. I'm gonna have my sketchbook right here, I guess, and we're just gonna sketch this together. It's gonna be mostly real time, but I will blast through some of the cross-hatching parts because it's so tedious and I don't think there's a lot to learn from it, just some things to learn. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting from right to left. Usually the way I do this is I look for a good spot to begin with, just to get some kind of a feeling for the scale of the sketch, okay? So I started with this building on the right. There is minor skewing due to the camera angle, but I did get this part a little bit too small. The right wall of that, the structure is a bit too thin. It should be a little wider, the angle on the line on the right. I'm running this actually at double speed. What I did here, I ran most of it in double speed, and then for the cross-hatching in 3 times faster than the original. The reason is that I don't necessarily see a reason to really stop for each and every line, and you would have felt it. It would be super slow in real time. But let me know in a comment below if you think it would be better in real time. Then we can definitely do that. Because for the most part, I do drawings and then paintings. It's been a while since I did one of these sketches, so I have less of a feel for what the best way to do it is. So anyway, starting from the large shapes and slowly working my way to the smaller shapes. The reason why I do stop for a moment and do these small shapes is usually because they're necessary. So for example, now I want to continue that side of the structure, but in order to do that I need to get some kind of an idea of that weird thing with the triangular roof in the middle. Otherwise I wouldn't know how long to make the lines that I'm working on actually right now. And so many times you'll find that one line leads to another line, and there's this sort of a work process that makes sense. Sometimes it can be a challenge to find it, and I think that's one of the things that come with experience and make a huge difference that people sometimes underestimate. So a lot of the time, if you compare, for example, myself and someone else, in terms of our sketching abilities, they may be similar, but for some reason the other person may get different results. And sometimes what makes the difference is just knowing what order to work in, okay, if that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, now I'm moving a bit to the left. There's this window and then the small tower in the middle that's just beautiful. And really working my way there, trying to find the relations between each and every line. So I can see that this line ends up at the same area where this little window, rounded window, ends up. So it's true for this line as well. We have these 2 windows that I want to get in. I marked the center point of the lower window, now the top one. Not getting in too many details yet, just the shape of the windows. There's a lot of fine details inside them that I'll get to work on later on. So now for the tower in the center, which is I think one of the most beautiful parts of this building actually. Not necessarily the most significant one, and not really a focal point or something like this, but just something that I personally enjoy doing. I like this kind of towers a lot. So yeah, just putting in a hint for the windows. I'm gonna go over all of these later on in more detail. We have this window under there, again, some hint of the panes. Still not darkening anything, just building the main structure. Now the longest line is the line of the roof itself, so this is the first line I want to get in there. I didn't get the angle quite accurate, and it's something I'm gonna fix a little later on. Somehow I'm going to try and save it. It's not that bad, but you can see also in the reference. By the way, I really like that the reference is to the left, and then I don't have to deal with putting in the picture into the video or something like this. It's really just fun recording like this. Let me know if this works better for you. I think it's fun to see it side by side. It makes it a little more challenging sometimes because it's not in front of me. It's kind of to the left of the drawing. But still, nothing that I can't deal with. So yeah, if you like that kind of thing, it's good. As for the left side, obviously I'm not going to fit in all of the left side of the building, and I knew it and I calculated for that. That's about the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to be able to fit maybe 2 windows in there and just wrap it up. So I'm quite pleased with the way the proportions are working here, or rather the composition. I decided to just cut it somewhere because the leftmost area it doesn't add much interest, you know, so I just decided to do it that way. Again, getting those windows. It's important to note that these windows kind of are placed in accordance with the windows in the top on the roof. I didn't get that here, and it may lead to a bit less harmony or maybe organization, but that's fine. You can see the window that's in the center of the left area is not under the window on the roof, but it's okay. Now there's these 2 arches on the bottom of the structure. And what I'm going to do is end it in a very simple way. The bottom border for the sketch is going to be just the foliage on the bottom. I'm not going to add too much information like the fence and things like this. I just find that the more I do watercolor, especially, it makes me keep thinking what I can omit, what I can drop from the drawing, from the sketch, from the painting. And it's really a nice and very liberating feeling knowing that you don't have to be 100% loyal to the reference, because even if the reference is a scene in front of you, by the way, not just an image reference, you can decide to change things around, move things a bit. If something doesn't fit or it feels like it'll be too crowded, you can make things fit better with what you're trying to achieve. I think one important thing is really knowing when to drop things, and also in accordance to the size of the sketch. So for example, this sketch is rather small. You can see that compared to the size of my hand, and because it's small, I can't fit in too much details there. Now if I would draw the same thing on a larger piece of paper, I'd probably work a little slower and get some more details in there, but here it's really not necessary, you know. So this is the fence on the right, and then we have all the foliage, as I mentioned. Just scribbled it in there. It's one of the easiest things to draw, as long as you don't make it too even and too repetitive. You just kind of throw random patterns in there. You're good to go. And this is something that you learn with time also, like just making it interesting by making it random. So now adding some details to the windows. Again, you see I'm dropping out a lot of the information from the reference. There really is no use of trying to imitate it accurately. And with watercolor, this is something, again, I learned recently. I learned even more. You can never really compete with the reference because it's reality. And really now that I'm diving deeper into Alvaro Castanet's stuff, I can really understand this now better, because if you try to just imitate the reference, you're going to get a poor replication of it, unless you're going hyper-realism, and then I find it quite tedious and slow and not for my own taste. So so it's just a matter of, I think, seeing translating the way you see it to the page. But this is something I'm learning at the moment, so hopefully I'll have smarter insights soon. So now I'm cross-hatching, starting with the first layer of hatching. And I'm going over everything except for the bright areas on the windows on the roof. Whoa, I lost my voice for a moment there. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going over everything, and you'll notice how I missed a part of the right window on the roof. I'll go back to it. So now I'm basically covering everything with the cross-hatching, except for these small highlights and the roof on the right, okay? Because all of this structure is significantly darker than the sky. and so it's important to cover everything up, okay? Even compared to the foliage, to the trees and stuff like that, it's much darker. So you see I'm skipping the roof on the right, but I'm using the shadow under the chimney to really bring out the light value of the roof on the right that probably reflects the light from the sun. It looks like it's just a part that's sort of like a mirror. It reflects the sun towards us, the viewer, and so yeah, this is what happens. You can also see I skipped some other areas. Now the thing is, it's still not completely, the highlights are still not there because it's just one layer of hatching. The moment I'm going to add some more darks, the lights are going to pop, okay? But basically when you shade and when you create dark values, you're actually drawing the highlights. That's what happens. You're like negative drawing the highlights. And now it's time to add the darker shadows. So for these, just doing at an angle of 45 degrees to the original hatching layer. I'm sorry that you can't see everything right now. I'll try to improve it in a moment later on. But anyway, yeah, you can see me moving quite vertically, as opposed to the first layer that was at 45 degrees. And just going through it, looking at the picture, trying to figure out what's dark, what's light, improving it the more I move along, and also changing some stuff because I just wanted it to have some more contrast and a stronger impact. So you will see me making stuff darker when they aren't necessarily in the reference, just because, I don't know, it makes the scene feel a little better. Like this chimney, for example, on the reference it's all dark, but I decided to make this right side a little darker. There's the cast shadow that I made stronger on the roof. So yeah, you really have a lot of freedom in that sense. And as long as you get the effect you want, I think that's the most important thing. So now I have a large portion of the shadows down on the left area. There's this strong shadow at the edge of the roof. And now I can start working on maybe some of the windows and things like this. Just this area should be a little darker, so I'm adding this layer of hatching basically to the entire wall, as you'll soon see. Soon I'll go over everything. But for now, just darkening some of the inner parts of the windows, making this line a little stronger. It has a little more weight in the reference. Going over the window panes that are usually very dark, and just slowly building, making my way around it. And there are some large areas of shadows that I could probably take care of earlier, but I don't know. I just decided to work from left to right. Generally speaking, I will work from left to right. Just to make sure I don't smear my own sketch just very quickly because I'm right-handed. But in the drawing, you probably noticed I started from right to left. So in the initial drawing, because it made more sense. So it's sort of a combination of the two. By the way, now the video is jumped to 3 times faster because it's the cross-hatching again. And it's just a very slow process that requires some patience, and so you don't necessarily have to watch all of it to get the main idea of it. So yeah, now just the small details on the roof really help add a sense of what's going on there, and also their cast shadow. I'm gonna make a stronger contrast on this chimney as well, just because I feel like it was quite necessary here, even though the left side should be significantly darker as well. Now we're moving close to the rightmost wall that's gonna be entirely darker. This is where you'll notice I stretch the contrast in a few moments. Now I'm working on other things, but in a few moments you will see how I did stretch the contrast a little more. I'm going to finish with the arches here at the bottom. The right one is significantly darker because basically I think it's one entrance. There's just this little wall between them, the pillar in between them. So the right side is darker. Actually, I think I figured it out just now. While I worked at it, I didn't even think about it, but now I just noticed it. So anyway, making this area a lot darker. I could probably just use a bold marker or something because it's really just pure black. So anyway, yeah, this entire right wall, you can see in the reference, it's darker as well, but I stretched it a little more, the contrast, because I felt like it's necessary to give this some more some more variety of value, and just to convey the change in the direction because of the wall. Also, the fence at the bottom is fairly dark, this wall to the right next to the edge of the image. And now inside that dark area I'm adding a little more details. Now the beauty of it, and just like watercolor, is that when you're sketching inside the dark area you actually don't need as many details. Because you're in the dark, and things in the dark tend to be a lot more blurry. And every photographer probably knows this. The better the light is, the more sharp the image turns. Like literally, if you want a good image, even a good video, you need to have plenty of light. So same goes for here. If you're painting something that's in the shadow or sketching something in the shadow, it's going to be a little more blurry, a little less stressed. Okay. And we're really in the final stages of this one. Just adding some more details to the foliage, just to make it a little more less maybe sterile, I guess. Yeah, give it some more interest. And yeah, basically this is done. Just a little shadow here on this small triangular roof, and soon you'll be able to see just the image reference of the final one. Not reference. This is the final sketch. Friends, here's the final result again. I hope you enjoyed this. I made a few small mistakes here with this area, especially I sort of cut out this part of the wall where I could have left a little more space for it. But overall I like it, I like the composition, I like the values, I'm really pleased with this one. As you saw, the cross-hatching part is really tedious, takes time, takes some patience, but if you can get into the zen of doing this, it's actually ends up being very rewarding and fun. You can really, this is an advice I give to people that get bored from shading. Focus on the tip of the pencil and just on every individual line that you're working on. Because what happens is when you make a lot of lines, for me it used to happen in the past, you make a lot of small lines and then you just are, okay, all of them are the same, so they bore me. But if you can get into the zen of actually being present with every line that you sketch, which is borderline impossible, but for some it is, it just makes the process a lot more fun. Okay, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing this process, and I hope it helped you and gave you a few practical tips. I know a lot of this is a little hard to communicate, so I will remind you I'm working on a course for this that will dive a little deeper into how to accurately draw things that you see. Specifically urban scenes, because I already have a course on drawing accurately what you see. I will put a link in the description box below, as I always do. But I want to focus a little more on the tactics, and specifically in the application of this for urban sketching and urban landscapes and buildings and things like this. So anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, mainly Instagram, because I'm having a lot of fun there and sharing a lot of new things that happen and works in progress, things like this. And I will see you in another video tomorrow.